Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, National Pet Day-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 11th of April, 2022. Happy National Pet Day, Kristy.
Happy National Pet Day, Summers. Yes. As you were talking, this massive crow just flew right next to my window. I was watching him. I was like, don't come in, don't come in. I don't really want to have a pet crow. But I like crows a lot, but I didn't want to have a pet crow. That could have gotten messy.
You're adopting a crow on National Pet Day. It's going to be a thing. I wonder how Tucker would do with a new crow brother. How does Tucker do with birds? Does he hunt them or chase them?
No. The only thing he likes to chase is cats. But I think he wants to make friends with them. Mm-hmm. He's just very curious about cats. Yeah. But that's really the only animal he's intrigued by. Other than other dogs, he wants to always meet new dogs and dominate the large male ones and make friends with all the female ones. He's a ladies' man.
Yep, Tucker used to be madly in love with my dog Cleo, who is no longer with us, but Tucker would literally bring Cleo a bone and put it down next to her in the office. It was very sweet, very cute. Yeah. He's such a gentle soul. Have I shared my pup date on the pod yet?
I don't know. I mean, you may as well do it now since it is Pet Day after all.
So as you guys all know, anyone who listens, we got a new puppy, Denali Sally, a mix of a mini Australian Shepherd and a mini Border Collie, short-haired Border Collie. So the estimate was that this dog was going to be maybe 35 pounds. Not a big dog, but a sweet, energetic, smart little companion dog for myself and Brennan while Dad travels. We just had his 19-week last round of puppy shots, rabies, and weight check. And he is currently 25 pounds already.
Yeah, he's going to be big.
The fabulous thing about this is all of his litter mates are 15 to 17 pounds. So somehow we got the opposite of the runt. We got the super non-runt of this litter. It's pretty funny because he's outgrown his puppy collar and outgrown his crate and outgrown all of the stuff that I got with the anticipation that he would be a certain size dog. He will most definitely not be that size dog. So I love our puppy, but boy, oh boy, he surprised us.
Well, talking about animals and pets.
Mm-hmm. In honor of pets being some of our favorite children.
In honor of Pets Day, we are going to focus on some animal-based headlines today from the Optimist Daily. And I guess I'll go first with mine, Summers.
Yes, please.
The headline reads, Ecuador grants wild animals legal rights in a world first. And this is something we've been following. We've written about sentience in octopus being sort of declared in the UK that octopus and other cephalopods are considered sentient beings, which gives them some protective status, not exactly rights, but you can't be unduly cruel to them. Mm-hmm. But in a landmark ruling now, Ecuador has become the first country in the world to grant legal rights to individual wild animals. And this comes out of a ruling around a pet monkey. In 2008, the country was the first in the world to recognize nature, or Pachamama, as a deserving right-bearing entity. So they've already acknowledged nature in general as a right-bearing entity. It's illegal to just callously take from nature. It's not there to serve us. We need to find coexistence, right? But while that law was enshrined in the Constitution of Ecuador, it was unclear how that would play out when it came to specific wild animals and whether or not they would actually benefit from that. But that uncertainty has now been cleared up thanks to a case surrounding a woolly monkey in the name of Estrellita.
Oh, I love this little monkey, Estrellita.
Yeah, Estrellita. Well, she was taken illegally from the wild 20 years ago, by a librarian, Ana Beatriz Burbaro Proaño. And so I guess it was captured in the wild. She was raised by this woman, this librarian, but because owning wild animals is illegal in Ecuador, the authorities eventually seized Estrellita in 2019 and they moved her into a zoo where she died a month later because she was in despair. She grew up with this woman.
Yeah, deep grief.
And monkeys are very social animals, anyway. So before becoming aware that the monkey had died, the owner filed a case for Estrelita's rights to be recognized, pleading that her detention was illegal and that the pet ought to be returned to the home, the only home she really ever knew. The court eventually, just recently, ruled in favor of Ana Beatriz Barbaro Proano, but also ruled that the monkey's removal from the natural habitat in the first place was also a violation of the monkey's rights. This verdict raises animal rights to the level of the Constitution in Ecuador. And as part of the verdict, the court also stated that wild species and their individuals have the right to not be hunted, fished, captured, collected, extracted, kept, retained, trafficked, traded, or exchanged. They are considered basically persons. Following Ecuador, other countries have also granted legal protection to nature, either through their court systems or through their constitutions. Countries that have done this include Colombia, Mexico, Chile, New Zealand, and Panama. So a lot of this is coming out of the Latin American world. I find that interesting. I don't know what implication this will have internationally, but animal rights have been on the docket in different American jurisdictions as well. I don't know. This is an interesting and evolving conversation.
Right. I mean, this comes down to what you talk about often is not seeing us as other, but us as part. And humans are not other than animals. Humans are, in fact, animals. When policies like this are drawn forth, they remind us to think beyond some of the precepts that we have based on the society as it was and the world as it was. And even yesterday or Friday, we were talking about climate anxiety, and it's like shifting your entire focus to what are the solutions going forward and recognizing that our coexistence with animals and flora and fauna is imperative and that it is not instead of or in a domination type structure.
Right. And it's a reorienting ourselves in a partnership kind of a world, sort of using that partnership approach.
Exactly. Partnership model.
Which we enjoy a lot here at the Optimist Daily.
Yeah, it's kind of our thing here. Speaking of new ways to communicate, think, process, and perhaps listen, my headline also draws from the wisdom of our wild creature friends. My headline reads, "Study, spiders use their webs to hear." Now, the Optimist Daily recently reported that spiders actually use electricity to fly by hopping on electric fields for a ride, which is awesome. And now we have a new study from Binghamton University that has revealed even more intriguing secrets about our little arachnids. How exactly do spiders use their webs to hear? This story reminded me of like an old game of tin can telephone, right? We know that sound carries along lines, and that's how tin can telephones work. We have a string in between. But it turns out spider webs aren't just for catching flies. With a team led by Professor Ron Miles, they have set out to explore spider hearing mechanism in regards to its webs. They investigated the phenomenon by playing sound at different volumes, distances, and angles from orb weaving spiders. And altering these three constraints caused situational specific behavior to be displayed. I'm imagining these little spiders like turning their head like my puppy does when he's listening. But these behaviors included crouching and stretching, which is assumed to fine-tune the frequencies they were hearing. The spiders were impressively able to locate the direction of sound source with 100% accuracy. Basically, spiders are creating their own acoustic antenna, which creates a sound-sensitive area up to 10,000 times larger than the spider itself.
It's like the big dishes in the desert that listen to extraterrestrial noise.
Exactly. It also protects them, increasing their chances of hearing incoming prey or predator. Spider silk itself is very thin and sensitive in nature, and it sets up this extraordinary relationship because the vibrations in webs alert spiders of other organisms' presence, right? We knew that. A bug lands in the web, the spider goes and wraps it up and snacks on it later. But this is also showing that it's actually tracking sound waves in addition to air particles or movement. What can this do for those of us who are not spiders with webs?
Can it teach us anything?
It, in fact, can. It has applications for designing sensitive, bio-inspired microphones for hearing aids and phones. Really looking at it, understanding that viscous forces and perhaps even cilia level implements can increase the efficacy and transference of sound to those who are hearing impaired. The group is planning to conduct future experiments, of course, on other species to figure out whether or not you can outsource hearing through other mechanisms if other animals outsource hearing. But it's reasonable to guess that a similar spider on a similar web would respond in a similar way, is quoted Miles, the project lead. But we can't draw any conclusions about that since they tested only a certain kind of spider that happens to be pretty common. So they were embarking on learning more. This came from Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. It was a great story. When you hear it, all of a sudden you're like, no, duh, that makes great sense. But something that hadn't been identified and documented until now.
You know what this reminds me of, Summers? It just reminds me that animals are awesome.
Animals are pretty cool. Yeah. Whether it's overgrown puppies or docile Akitas or spiders or woolly monkeys named Estrellita. That, guys, is a wrap on our stories. We've got a few more today to talk about. Let's see. 7 ways to help your body detoxify. And we are not talking detox diets. San Marino appoints the world's first openly gay head of state. What else, Kristy?
A non-surgical implant uses lasers to suppress hunger that treat obesity. And these 3 adventures are making travel more inclusive for all. That and much more on theoptimistdaily.com today. Go check it out. Thank you so much for listening to the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to keep sharing these kinds of cool stories about animals and other positive solution-based stories with ideas on how we can all participate in the changing world to help ensure it is changed for the good. And we also promise to keep covering current events with accurate, legitimate sources that keep offering you the information we all need to chart new paths for all of us.
Thank you, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with more solutions.